noted by Condé Nast to be one of the top 10 cities in America. We have hosted an unparalleled string of major sports and or entertainment events over the last 18 months. And I can't think of a better team in America to host the world's #1 event. And so as we are 100 days out, I'm joined by many of the deputy mayors, council members, and leaders of all of the organizations that have anything to do with making sure that this is a success. And so I want to start by thanking the Saints for their work, Mr. Benson and their entire team, to be the great leaders for the city of New Orleans that they are in helping us land the Super Bowl, to the Super Bowl host committee that is being led by the executive director, Jay Cicero, and Mary Matlin and James Carville are serving as our hosts and doing an incredible job. As many of you are watching this presidential campaign, they're sparring wonderfully on TV with each other, and they're in front of the nation. So we look forward to their leadership as we go on. The purpose of today's conference is to just remind the public that we're 100 days out, to let them know that we have been working for a very, very long time to make sure that we coordinate all of our efforts between the private sector, the not-for-profit, the federal, state, and local authorities, and that we are well on our way to being 100% ready for the Super Bowl as it comes. As you know, we have worked very hard to get to this place over a long period of time, and we feel very good about it. The idea is to make sure that New Orleans shines its brightest light at this particular time when we are on the world stage. And the idea is from the moment that a tourist steps into the city of New Orleans, or a customer from anywhere, whether they be in Louisiana or even in the city of New Orleans, that they have a wonderful experience. When they come in on the plane, they walk into a concourse that is newly renovated. If they have to use the facilities, they walk into a beautiful restroom facility. If they want to eat food and they're hungry, they go into a newly constructed restaurant. When they walk outside, they're greeted by somebody who has customer service at the forefront of their mind. They get into a cab that is clean and safe, that they move onto a highway that is newly minted, and that there's no trash on the highway. And they will come into the city of New Orleans, they see the beautiful view of the city of New Orleans, and that from that moment until the moment that they leave, they have just a wonderful, safe, and happy experience, and that we do what we do better than anybody else in the world. We're wonderful hosts, and we serve them in a beautiful way so that New Orleans can remain at the top of the list of being sports destinations. We have begun to finish the $200 million in renovations that we're doing at the airport. The Superdome has undergone about $340 million in renovations in the last couple of years. We are watching the private sector respond in an unbelievable way and engage in major infrastructure projects in almost every major hotel that we have. The construction and the renovation of the Hyatt was the first, but if you go anywhere in the city, you'll see that every hotel is spending hundreds of millions of dollars on infrastructure and upgrades. We are going to make sure that we have a world-class experience. And so one of the things that we want to do is highlight the need for volunteers. This is really our time to show what New Orleans are really like. Now, Indianapolis stepped up their game, but no matter how hard they try, and I love Indianapolis, they can't recreate what New Orleans has created. And so one of the things we want to do is make sure that all of the people in New Orleans have an opportunity to participate as well, and we're calling for volunteers as we move forward. Behind us, we have individuals that represent all the federal, the city, and the state agencies that have been working on this. We have representatives from the host committee that are here. This is going to have over a $400 million economic impact in hard dollars for the state and or the city, and the amount of international publicity that we're going to get is something that you could not buy. Every major network and every minor network is in town already scouting stories about the great resurrection and redemption of one of the great cities in the world, and we have a fantastic story to tell. As I like to say, New Orleans has become the coolest hotspot in America for innovation and for change, whether it's the reorganization of our school system, the reconstruction of our healthcare delivery system, the reorganization of our government, the reorganization of our transportation modes, the focal point of our sports and hospitality destination, the new investments that we have in digital, the incredible new economic engines that we have through GE and other areas. New Orleans is on the rise. It's been noted by the Wall Street Journal. It's been noted by Forbes magazine. This is a great story of people who have been through the worst, who have stood up tall and are now going to show the nation what the best looks like. So I want to thank everybody behind me for their participation in this. We feel really good about where our preparations are. We have a little bit more to go, but today is the day to do one of the last rallying calls so that everybody who has been working on this can really come together and we put forward a perfect face. So thank you all for that. I want to call up now Deputy Mayor Cedric Grant, who is the Deputy Mayor of Facilities, Infrastructure, and Community Development. And after that, it'll be Justin Augustine, Iftikhar Ahmed from the airport, DOTD, and then if you guys would just announce who's coming up after you, and then we'll answer any questions that you guys have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be followed by people that will give you more detail on specific infrastructure projects. What I'm here to report is that all of the infrastructure projects related to the hospitality zone in the general area of the Super Bowl will be completed by December, by the end of December, early January. That will include streetlight repairs, that will include basic maintenance of roads and sewage and water board potholes and other such things. We will also have some major projects that will be finished, which is basically NFL legacy projects that Vic will talk about as capital projects, and Reinventing Crescent will also be done by that time. So at this point in time, what we can tell you is that we're ready. We will be ready by that time, and all the infrastructure in the city will be in place to accommodate all the visitors that we'll receive for Super Bowl.
Be great. Thank you. Iftikhar Ahmed, please. Oh, I'm sorry, Justin Augustine, the Regional Transit Authority.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As Deputy Mayor Grant has spoken, yes, we are ready. As a representative of the Regional Transit Authority, that iconic project that's going outside, right outside these doors, will be completed on January the 13th. That's the streetcar line. The St. Charles line that is presently going under restoration. What we're going to do is shut the line down, all the construction on the line down, on January the 19th, and not perform any additional construction until Ash Wednesday, which would allow the St. Charles line to run in complete operation during this wonderful time that this community will be enjoying. Iftikhar, please.
Thank you. Iftikhar Ahmed with the airport.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your leadership. We follow you to make this city the best that it can be. The airport will be done with this $356 million modernization program, and it will be ready for Super Bowl. 90% of the program is completed. We started with 14 projects. We added 2 more. 13 of the 14 original projects are completed. The rental car facility is 87% complete. Now we're focusing on the inside, trying to create the tenant improvements, the counter space, the signage and such. The roadway, DOTD is going to help us out, is going to get overlaid, the access road, and we're going to do another project to do landscaping out there. You're going to see furniture come in next month. You're going to see plants come in, and the concessions, about out of the 8, 6 of the shops are open on news and gift side. And then on food and beverage side, we feel pretty good that we all will be in place by January 15th. We're also going to have TVs in every gate area with programming, and we're going to have our mayor welcome everybody that is coming in all year long to New Orleans, to state of Louisiana. Since we do 80% of all the passengers that come to Louisiana, our mayor will greet them and welcome them into the city. So we feel good. We're ready for Super Bowl. Thank you very much. And Mike from DOTD, all of you.
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor. Mike Stack with Louisiana DOTD. We are prepared and ready to assist in any way we can. We have several projects that I'm going to highlight today. First of all, the French Quarter streets will be complete prior to the Super Bowl. A couple other projects. We're going to resurface Calliope Street. That's going to start next week. That'll be complete prior to the Super Bowl. Also, we're going to paint the railroad underpass near the pump station on I-10. Again, all complete by the Super Bowl. We're going to start a massive general cleanup in association with the city and others. We're working with our traffic control plans to make sure the city is still, commerce is still conducted during the Super Bowl, and we are willing to help in any way we can. Thank you.
Michelle, Deputy Mayor of Operations, Michelle Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you know, in April of this year, we passed sweeping taxicab reforms. Those changes included improving vehicle standards requiring credit cards, GPS machines, security systems for the safety of our drivers. We passed legislation to create accessible taxicabs for those with disabilities and improve standards and regulations for both drivers and CP&C holders. These reforms have begun taking hold. To date, we have more than 400 taxicabs out of our 1551 that are in compliance. Beginning August 20th, every taxicab that came in for their semi-annual inspection had to be in compliance, and we're having a good response to that. We feel confident that before the end of January that every taxicab that is on the street of New Orleans will be in compliance with our new standards and give our residents and our guests the type of ground transportation experience that they deserve and that one would expect from a world-class tourism city. In addition, for our event organizers, retailers, and vendors, tomorrow we will be releasing a Super Bowl permitting guide and code enforcement guide that will lay out step by step what the process is to obtain a permit to vend, to build, to operate your business for the Super Bowl and during the Super Bowl in the clean zone and in conjunction with the requirements required by the National Football League. The goal of the guide is to provide quality customer service. We want to have an easy experience for those who seek to do business with us during that time. And we urge all of those who are seeking to do business during Super Bowl week to apply as soon as possible. We will not be processing late applications. The application deadlines will be January 4th. So we encourage you to download the Super Bowl guide beginning tomorrow, understand what your processes are. There are contacts in the guide that, if you have any questions, can help you navigate the process, and we look forward to working with you to have a wonderful experience during the Super Bowl. Finally, in conjunction with DOTD, the Downtown Development District, the Convention Center, and many of our other partners, we are working to clean the city up. We have an aggressive sanitation plan that's in place that includes everything from enhanced power washing. We're asking our business owners to not only power wash your buildings, but power wash the sidewalks in front of your buildings to the curb. We are in the process of procuring new litter baskets and recycling bins for the downtown area and the French Quarter and the RTA stops. We are working on an anti-graffiti campaign and we'll be calling volunteers together in January to do aggressive graffiti removal in the downtown area. And we will be communicating with the public and our business owners throughout the next 100 days to make sure that we all pitch in and work together to make our city as clean and beautiful for our guests as possible. Thank you. Don't trash that, Scott Hutchinson.
We're very happy also to announce the second phase of our Don't Trash That campaign. You can see by the illustration right here, we've injected a little bit of humor into the campaign. You'll start seeing these billboards, advertisements, bus sides starting next week and will run through the Super Bowl. The effort is to encourage personal responsibility to keep our city clean. We know that clean cities are more livable cities, and we like to live there. Our visitors like to come when it's nice and clean. So as you can see, it encourages you to take personal responsibility, but also encourage others to do the same and keep New Orleans clean.
Oh, no,
Thanks.
you didn't.
Well, that's great. Good morning, and trash that. I'm probably one of the most excited folks in the room, but it's not about me. It's about the youth and all of our citizens and this time and place of where we work. I was joking with Jay. I said, Jay, 1997, Jesus. And we're back, and we're still here. And the leadership of this mayor and the commitment and the motivation that he has, that motivates me to make this city what it deserves to be, and the commitment to build it better than what it was. And if you haven't seen the changes in the last 2 years, you really haven't been watching, because that commitment is taking place. In North Sea alone is a $2 million immediate unplanned investment on top of the commitment that had already been made. There are 5 sites that have been selected throughout every council district and every part of this city that will have an immediate impact, as far east all the way to Kingswood Playground past Bullitt. And in our conversations with the NFL Foundation and the Super Bowl host committee, they didn't want to do just football. We want to make a huge impact, and that was the first thing all of us around the table said, fantastic. So from going green and implementing and erecting solar panel lighting in the playground, around the walkway, and putting an exercise trail in, to Pontchartrain Park, on top of the additions that have been made with the new golf course and now the new Wesley Barrow with new scoreboard and goalposts, going all the way into Hunters Field, which will take a total of $1.5 million capital improvement, but a new playground that will be built in conjunction with the Super Bowl. And I can't talk about Lions Center and the work that Mr. Grant and Vince and the team is working on right now. But to say about Lions Center with the Super Bowl, putting in a state-of-the-art computer lab, but the public-private partnership that has been created through the North Foundation and its leadership, with Chevron coming to the table to write another $115,000 check to build the state-of-the-art, never done before, dance and ballet studio inside of the Lions Center project. And quite naturally, if you all haven't heard, the Queen project, $1 million of that $2 million will be dedicated to Harrell Stadium, which will take the Super Bowl, Superdome, artificial turf once the game is over, and will be installed in the Harrell Stadium on top of the new clubhouse that has just been completed and a new pool renovation. So it is a wonderful time for our city. But the public and the private partnership, the leadership of the commission, the foundation, and Chevron as well. We needed to match $1 million, and within 2 weeks that was done. And Chevron wrote another $500,000 check on behalf of the city and the foundation to immediately help us to make our $1 million match. So with that being said, come on out. We ask you all to volunteer and continue not just around the Super Bowl, but every day on how we should lend ourselves to make our community what it deserves to be. I'd like now to introduce two other partners, Jim Pate, who will be talking to you about Super Bowl, Super Saturday, and their work with Habitat for Humanity, and also Richard Pavlak, who's the newly elected president of Young Leadership. Jim and Rich, thank you all.
Thanks so much. We're so excited to be a part of this incredible effort. As we all know, the recovery and rebuilding and the building a new and better New Orleans was driven in many respects by the work of volunteers, both local, national, and international. And we've been so grateful for their efforts. But we want to go one more step. And we've got Super Saturday of Service in affiliation with the Bowl. In addition to the 5 major projects, capital projects at the various NORD locations, in the communities surrounding those sites, we're going to be doing volunteer activities. We've met with neighborhood associations, community leaders to identify projects that can be done and handled by volunteers. Habitat will be taking the position of doing the takeoffs and assessing the projects and organizing the volunteers once on site. Our great partner, the Young Leadership Council, will be taking a role in organizing and getting them there and on site. But most importantly, we see this effort at these 5 locations in community work as being just the beginning. We will engage and continue to engage the community. We've got a list that we can't get everything done on Super Saturday. So we're going to continue recruiting and distributing volunteers to work in each of these communities. So this is just the beginning of the effort. We ask that everyone sign up and volunteer in particular through our other nonprofit friends who will be out there, such as Kaboom and Katrina. And Richard?
Thank you very much. When they reached out to the Young Leadership Council to help organize and manage this event, we were thrilled to be a part of it. We're going to be involved in the planning stages up until the day of the event, as well as helping organize, doing a lot of the logistics and management of the day of activities. We view this as a very mission-fulfilling process for us. We have a lot of young leaders in our organization that have stepped up and taken a big role to help this come to fruition and help plan for it for when the day comes in February. We also view this as a beginning and a continuation of what we're already doing in some of these communities, and it provides us an opportunity to go into new neighborhoods, because we view this as a tremendous opportunity to really highlight the wonderful things that are going on with the city of New Orleans. And we feel that if you introduce national media, visitors, people from different parts of the city, and show them our neighborhoods and our people and our culture, the event's going to be a tremendous success. So we're really looking forward to it. We enjoyed working with all of our community partners. We look forward to continuing working with them. And I'd also like to invite everybody out this weekend from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Jim Skavarka with Rebuilding Together New Orleans. We're going to be kicking off our Super Bowl volunteer season this weekend out at the New Yet, or not the New Yet Center. Hopefully it will look new after we're done with it.
It will.
Located at 1140 South Broad Street. So please, everybody come out. We'll be out there at 8:30 a.m. Come out and volunteer, come out and look, see what we're doing, and we hope everybody will get involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it. And Carol Asher, who is the volunteer chairwoman for the Super Bowl committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to the citizens of New Orleans who have already responded in great numbers to our request for 8,000 volunteers for Super Bowl host committee. And our response has been so great. We've already had over 4,000 people sign up for shifts, specific shifts for Super Bowl, and the majority of our volunteers are needed at NFL Experience. 4,000, in fact, are needed there. So I'm going to give you a little preview of how the different volunteer shifts will be taken and what you need to do to sign up. Super Bowl is the largest event that any city can host, and we know that we're the best at it. I really believe that when people come away from a Super Bowl, it's not the score of the game that they remember so much as how they're treated by the volunteers in the community.
Unless the Saints in it.
Unless the Saints are in it, of course. That was my next thing I was going to say. Volunteers are the ambassadors for our city, and so how the volunteers respond to our visitors that come, and it has just the greatest impact on the NFL, on business people who are here, on our VIP visitors. We all know what it costs to go to a Super Bowl, so every person who comes into our city is a VIP, and we want to treat them as such. And so we really want the face of our volunteers to be that, of being so very welcoming. And as the mayor said, Indianapolis did a great job, but no one does it better than New Orleans volunteers do. So we want everyone not only to have a fabulous time at the Super Bowl, but we want them to want to come back over and over again, to do business in New Orleans and to come back as visitors. So now I'm going to tell you how you can volunteer and what you have to be to volunteer. Number one, you have to be 18 years or older by the end of the year. You have to, if you commit to a shift, to working, you have to show up, you have to be responsible, and you have to pass a background check. That's an NFL regulation. Examples of how volunteers will be utilized during the Super Bowl. The largest number, as I mentioned, 4,000, are used to help with NFL Experience, which is a really interactive game facility that is almost the entire convention center filled with interactive fun and games that volunteers will be manning and womaning. We will need hundreds of volunteers to act as city ambassadors at the airport, putting Mardi Gras beads on people as they come off their planes, to working in hotels, telling people where things are, to being downtown ambassadors. Everyone, I know a concern of yours was how our volunteers will be dressed. All of our volunteers will be dressed in khaki pants and volunteer uniforms. So everyone will look alike and will be known. If you're on the street and it's cold out, you'll have a jacket. Everyone will have a jacket that will match, that'll have our host committee logo on it. Everyone will get a polo shirt that'll have the host committee logo on it, a baseball cap, a bag. Of course, this depends how many shifts you work. So the more shifts you work, the more swag you get. So keep that in mind. The other events that people will be asked to work at are NFL special events such as the parties, which are incredible, concerts, Super Bowl Boulevard. How to get involved is to sign up on our website, which is NOLASuperbowl.com. That's NOLASUPERBOWL.com, to complete a really, really easy 5-step process. This must be completed by December 10th. I'm going to repeat that. You must have volunteered on our website by December 10th to be included. So it's really easy to do, and you can actually pick what kind of job you want, how hard you want it to be from an activity level, and when you can work. Check our website often, because the NFL keeps giving us more and more things that they need volunteers for during the week of Super Bowl. So you can also text SUPER to 63566. So lastly, why should you volunteer? Because everybody in this city is an ambassador for our incredible city, and we know more than anyone else in the country how to pitch in and be great community citizens. So as a volunteer, not only do you receive all the cool stuff I mentioned, but you get to feel really great about doing something extraordinary for our community.
Carol, thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for doing that. As many of you know, this is a national security event, and we are well prepared for that. I'm going to ask Chief Surpass to make a couple of comments, and then Colonel Edmondson from the State Police to talk about their partnership.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We feel really good right now. You know, New Orleans has gone 14, 15 months hosting the biggest events that any city can host, and our police department continues to prove that when it comes to this particular task, we're the best in the world, and we take that seriously. We've been working on the Super Bowl since before the beginning of this year. We meet every month with the FBI. We meet every month with Colonel Edmondson and his team. We meet every month with Sheriff Norman, Sheriff Guzman, and all the law enforcement community in and around. More importantly, we meet with everyone else, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Super Bowl Host Committee. This police department, all nearly 1,300 of us, will be all hands on deck, as we always do for a major event like this. We're cognizant and aware that the first Mardi Gras weekend occurs. We have a couple days, then we go into the Super Bowl, then we have a couple days, and then we go into the last weekend of Mardi Gras. Our department's going to be there for you. Our department is going to be there for the people in New Orleans and the visitors that come to the Super Bowl. I'm particularly grateful for the assistance we get from Colonel Edmondson and his team, Sheriff Norman, Sheriff Guzman as well, and I very much want to tell you, we're ready, we're planning, and we're going to be there to make this the best Super Bowl ever. Thank you.
Thank you. Colonel Mike Edmondson.
We're proud to stand up here with my friend and your mayor, and of course my friend and your police chief and all the other individuals. What's so unique and good about this is the fact that we already know each other. It's not a matter of getting to know each other as we move forward. Proud to sit in the meeting this morning as a representative that sits on the governor's cabinet in charge of public safety for the state of Louisiana, and to see such a proactive response as we move towards the Super Bowl. This will be my fourth Super Bowl that I've been involved in as a state trooper. Certainly what I saw this morning as far as the preparation as we move forward is a tremendous effort and a tremendous best foot forward that we have when we're talking about public safety and just being prepared for a city that is so adept at hosting a major sporting event. As you know, January 1 will take over the Crescent City Connection. You will see a presence of Department of Public Safety and Louisiana State Troopers on the bridge for that portion of it. We will address the problems that we've been working with along with the police chief and the mayor on Chapatoulas exit there. We know about that. You'll see a presence during this particular time period of the Super Bowl and Mardi Gras. We've identified around 200 plus positions that will have a direct involvement of state police and public safety and Department of Public Safety police officers during the Super Bowl alone, the 1 week preceding and Super Bowl weekend itself. You'll see our normal complement for Mardi Gras of around 140 troopers that will be down here during that time period. We'll be working those numbers exactly where they will be during that time. But I can tell you from a standpoint of someone that certainly believes for Louisiana to succeed, New Orleans has to succeed. And we're going to do everything we can from a state perspective that I'm involved in with public safety to support the New Orleans Police Department as we continue to do, the New Orleans Fire Department, this great mayor, and all the good things that New Orleans are trying to do. I mean, it's a great day forward for New Orleans. I'm proud to be a part of this.
Thank you, Colonel. I appreciate it. And I'm going to ask Jay Cicero, who is the executive director for the host committee, to make a couple of comments, and then we'll follow by the two council members' brief comments, and then we'll have questions. Jay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate your leadership throughout this whole process, and working together with Jackie Clarkson, our Super Bowl liaison for the City Council, and others here today. I think the message is that it takes a group effort to do this. It's not these events don't come to New Orleans just because we're New Orleans. It takes an aggressive effort from the Saints and the Sports Foundation from the very beginning, put together a bid that is competitive, The owners of the NFL teams vote on that, vote on the bids, and they vote to see, vote for the cities. If we are awarded that, then the work begins, raising funds and putting together all these logistics and everything else it takes to host the Super Bowl. This event just means more to us than it does any other city. And I think the efforts of this group, Mayor and everyone else, have really proven that. So we know what it means. We know we're the best at doing this. We constantly have to prove that. And hopefully we'll put ourselves in position to go after the 2018 Super Bowl, which will be during the 30th anniversary of New Orleans. So very excited about that. This is an incredible opportunity for all of us, and we feel like New Orleans is going to deliver. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I ask the council to be represented by the Vice President to make brief comments. Jack.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City Council stands ready to go, totally behind this huge, wonderful team, and especially our mayor. Only New Orleans could do Mardi Gras, Super Bowl, Mardi Gras. Only New Orleans, and do it well, and do it in an international spotlight to show people we are back, we're better than ever, and we certainly do Super Bowls better than anybody. And this is our year to prove it, even more so. The leadership has been extraordinary. The collaboration of the teams have been the best I've seen, and I've been a part of several too. So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and to all of you behind us here. We are ready and we'll be there.
Councilmember Magic, you go ahead.
I just want to echo what Council Member Jackie Clarkson said, and we are ready. And I think I'm like Vic. I'm really excited though because it's an opportunity for everybody to participate. I think that's what's so good about it. You can volunteer, but also the resources they're going to leave here in the city. It's going to be a great impact on our children and grandchildren and all of those who live here in the city from the things they're going to be doing with the parks and also with the volunteer effort. So I'm looking forward to them. It's in my district. It's in Council District B.
That's why they came.
That's what I thought too, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to remind them I'm very thankful to you.
Just to highlight the fancifulness of this, we actually have Mardi Gras, we have 3 Hornets games, we have a Justin Bieber concert, we have the Super Bowl, and then we have Mardi Gras again, just in case anybody was counting all of the events that are going to go forward. I think that you can see behind us a group of people that are 100% committed. Again, this is an all-hands effort. I've said many times that the things that are working miraculously well in New Orleans only work when there's a partnership. And the private sector, the not-for-profit, the faith-based community, government on all levels, vertically and horizontally, are all pulling together as one team, one fight, one voice, one city. That's when New Orleans shines. When we can't seem to do that, that's when we don't shine. And so now we know what winning looks like. Now we know what being the best looks like. Now we know what it takes to be the best. And this group of folks standing behind us in partnership with all the folks that have worked on this thing that are not here, that have been part of the host committee, is just a wonderful example. Now, this thing's only going to work if it gets executed the right way. So the planning has been great, the organization has been great, the readiness has been great, but the win is in the execution. That's where it is. And as Carol said, that can't happen without the complete and total buy-in from the citizens in the state of Louisiana and from the business owners and the homeowners. So we're going to have a cleanup day in January, and I'm asking all business owners to take responsibility for cleaning their business, cleaning their sidewalk, cleaning everything in and around the city. We need 8,000 volunteers. Carol said we have 4,000. We need another 4,000 by the December date. It is really an extraordinary experience to be involved so we can put our best foot forward. We also continue to ask people that are part of the planning process to continue to perfect your planning and to drill and to be prepared for the unexpected, because this is one thing we know. Something's going to happen that we don't expect. It could be little, it could be big. And the mark of a really great organization is to be prepared for the unexpected and to be able to adapt to whatever comes our way. Unfortunately, we have too much experience in that area as we've related to storms before, but it is not unlike planning, a major event. So with that, I want to thank everybody again for the work that they've done. I think you've been able to glean from the comments that people have made that the amount of investment that we've been able to leverage just from doing this, whether it's from the NFL or whether it's from Chevron or whether it's from Nike's investment out of Joe Brown Park, which increased that investment by $7 million and has produced a great value, to the rebuilding of Lions Center, where both Jackie and Diana grew up as little girls. I remember that. You know, my daddy remembered. I was a little fit. But they did play there, and as did I. And so as we reinvest in making New Orleans the thing we always wanted it to be, to the reinvestment in Harrell Park, where so many young boys and girls not only learn how to dance but play football and run track, to making sure that in all of our recreation centers, it's not just about recreation, it's about culture and it's about learning from the learning center that's going to be in Lions Center. It's quite a magnificent opportunity for the city of New Orleans. And of course, not content to rest on our laurels before we even do this one, we're talking about the next one. So let me be clear to the commissioner and to NFL owners, we really like 2018 and our 300th anniversary that's going to mark the anniversary of this great city. And we feel like we should be in the hunt for that too. But before we do that, we got to get an A on this one, and I expect that we will. So thank you all very much, and either I or anybody else up here would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
We'll start with Paul.
Who's the oldest in the room?
I'm old.
All right, Sal Wadowski gets to go first. Sorry, Paul. He's a senior.
On the way over here, obviously there were lines of taxis. So what's the situation? Is that going to be a problem during this game?
Well,
Or?
the situation is that the people of New Orleans and the people of America who come to New Orleans expect to have a ground transportation system that works, that includes airplanes that get to clean airports on time and on task, public transit that works the way it's supposed to, and a ground transportation system that is clean, that's safe, that's friendly, and that's efficient. We spent a very, very long time working with the industry to try to get to that point. We think we did. There are obviously some folks that are disgruntled about that, and I'm sorry that they are, because taxi cab drivers are the ambassadors for the city of New Orleans. As Deputy Mayor of Operations Thomas indicated to you, there are 1,300 or so CPNCs. I think there are 200 people outside. So I guess my message to them would be, I'm sorry that you feel disgruntled, but we feel like that the rules and regulations designed in partnership with the industry